This is Shakti Kee Maya with the second wave of baby steps, the magic of congruency. And I'm so happy to be here. We have people from everywhere. We have people from Australia. We have people from Mexico. We have people from India and Germany. And we have people from the US in Florida and Oregon and the Midwest. And this is so exciting. I love the magic of Zoom. Zoom is like my best friend. Thank you for joining me. I'm just really excited to share this program. Baby Steps was a surprise for me how it came about. It's kind of been the last 6 years of my life, and I extracted that which works, and that which doesn't work, I threw away. And as I went through a lot of changes and kept asking questions and not understanding why some things were working and some things weren't working, there was a pivot point where things all of a sudden just unlocked itself, and it created this space. And it's really interesting, because sometimes when you ask really expansive, open-ended questions, there's no attachment to how it comes about. So I went through a divorce over a few years. Yes, over a few years. It was not easy. And I had asked 3 questions, and those 3 questions have gotten me to where I am today. So there is more to come around the divorce, as I have a 30-day program. But today, Baby Steps is a year-long enrichment course that I am offering. And I have one in session. I offer 2 a year. And this is the second wave. And each one is its own entity, in that it's the people that come to it, the energy of the group, are all the frequency of everybody in that group. It is literally as if you're all meant to be here. It's a pod. You will have a pod for a year, classes every 2 weeks. It's really amazing. So let me backtrack, and I call this the magic of congruency. And congruency is a word that seems to be available for me for this year. It's not something that I used a lot. And this year it seems to be about everything. And so another way of using congruency is alignment. And where in your life would you like to be aligned? And I can create it. So the definition that I use for congruency is when you mix alignment with allowance. When you are in allowance and you are in alignment, this congruency, where you bring together the elements of your perfect ask with your ability and clarity to receive. These are 2 huge key components here, ask and receive. When you can receive this clarity, your life unfolds with greater ease. The resistance, the obstacles, and confusions become less significant, embracing your abilities to develop awareness in all areas of your life. And this is a practice. It's not like it happens overnight. As we will learn in Baby Steps, it's really cool how each step builds on itself. So when you do, how many of you have experienced this, when you declare something to the universe and you make a demand and you say, I'm having this, how many of you receive the opposite? Like, how many of you step into the moment of, yes, I'm doing this, and then bam, the complete opposite shows up for you? Yep, Christy's raising her hand, Julie's nodding her head, Martina's nodding her head, Sakshi's raising her hand. This is so incredible, and I have come to this twisted awareness of why this happens and how to stop it from happening. So this is a really big piece that I have experienced in changing it. And it's like, when you have 1 foot on the brake and 1 foot on the gas, we have this built-in self-limiting belief system. So your spoken word and your new desires are not aligned. They're not congruent with the energies that you have been held in place for the longest time. And so it's so frustrating and it's confusing. And so how I work with people is by bringing the words to build new neuro pathways required for a congruent outcome. So in the very first class of baby steps, we get your ask and I clean it up and I match it so that your words and your energies are in sync, so that you're not in the undercurrent belief system that's going to, like a rake, like, you know, when you step on a rake and it smacks you in the face. Yeah, I've done that, by the way. Oh my God, there's so much going on in the chat room. It's like, howdy peeps, good day, buenos dias, whoa, hola. Sakshi has a question. What would you like to ask Sakshi?
I'd like to, so you said congruence to you meant being aligned in, what's that? An allowance. So can you explain what that is and how does that look like? Because alignment is, I mean, how do those two mix together?
So I can give you an example that would make it easier for you to follow this. So
Yeah.
Ask me an ask that you would like to have. Like if you could have anything in these 10 seconds, what would an ask be that I can show you the difference? So it's easier to show it than to give.
For me to stop hiding in all areas of my life, like literally just show up and stop hiding. Um, I've, I mean, this is after such a long time that I'm actually just showing my face on Zoom, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the littlest of the littlest areas, you know, I have this thing of hiding, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I kind of get that that's where my potency is stuck, you know, like I really try to hide a lot, and I get that I can change that, but I don't know how. It's not that I don't know, but I don't know how to define that energy or whatever.
Okay. Well, it's actually a perfect ask. It's actually literally where almost everybody that steps into the first class of baby steps has a very similar ask to be seen, to be, to what is it going to take to get through this, to get past this. And so I'm going to actually come back to this question. I'm going to read to you the different modules, and then you'll see from baby steps how that creates a change for you. And then I'll come back and I'll show you a little bit more of how this requires something. But the explanation of this is actually really cool in what baby steps is. So let me get there. So the first module, it's a year enrichment program, and it's every 2 weeks, classes every 2 weeks, and for a whole year. So you are committing to a very wonderful breathing space. You're not having to like figure this out all now. Like sometimes you have weekend workshops, or you have 3 weeks where you do something and it's like 21 days to break a habit. This isn't that. I have a 30-day detox program, clearing the crazy family shit out of you. And I have a 30-day pleasure upgrade, and I have a 30-day divorce self-discovery, self-recovery program coming. And I have a 30-day for the love of money and working with money. So all of these are very concentrated, and they can be intense, but they're also little short videos, 4 to 7 minutes, that allow you to do it on your own time. This is actually a course where you come to class every 2 weeks, and what you put into it is what you get out of it. And so that's a really big key component in that. And it also gives you breathing space, and you're in a group. So everybody gets the support from a group instead of it just being, just on yourself. So one of the first module, it's called the compelling infrastructure of you, where we start with clarifying the ask that matches what you'd like to create. And then we explore the origin of story. The second module is about creationship, how our infrastructure creates where are our generative qualities focused. In this module, we spend a lot of time examining our relationship with our creative capacities without competition and without judgments. The third module is all about business. It's about the business of being you, the business of running a family, the business of running your life, the business of your health, building a business, and running a business. So how we do anything is how we do everything. And the fourth module, ripening the fruits of our creation for lasting prosperity, finance, and wealth. Here we learn the source of money, the concepts that bring us wealth or brings us deficits and indebtedness. How it is it some people succeed and others don't. Where's the congruency in your wealth building and what is required for you to build your legacy, the legacy you desire. And so the first module, Sakshi, is all about reconfiguring your infrastructure. So every class builds on each other, and every single class addresses that which is stopping you, that which is not allowing you, that which is, and it's done in a way that it's fun. There's action plays and there's home plays, and the awareness that you get is really incredible. And you know, I have people on here that are in a baby's steps class, and they can share with you what it means to change that infrastructure. So if there's somebody that would like to share of what that's like to change that infrastructure, by all means, I'm happy for you to step in and share what that's like, because it's extremely powerful when it means changing.
Thank you.
Who's speaking?
Yes, thank you.
Who is this?
Sarah from
Hi, Sarah.
England. Hi, how are you?
I'm great.
You are fantastic. Thank
Well,
you.
thanks. Julie, would you like to would you like to share what it's like to have your the infrastructure view shift? Would you like to share? Can't hear you yet. You're muted. Here, I'll unmute you. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. I changed a lot, and I didn't realize I did. And I've made that comment to Tim that I didn't think I had changed at all. But I have a lot. He goes, "You've changed a lot." But I realized that before I started this, I was suicidal, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And this, I don't even think about that anymore. I'm not saying I don't ever get depressed like for a short period of time, but I get over it faster. But this is helping me in the baby steps I need to take, because if I took a huge step, I would run, and I needed to take baby steps to get where I'm going. And sometimes I want to get there faster, and I'm like, why isn't this happening faster? But I know that I would run if you went any faster than the baby steps that we're taking. But I have changed a lot, and I'm happier, way happier. And I'm doing things, and I didn't realize I was doing something every day until I had made a comment to Shakti. I don't remember what it was, and she said that I was taking action, because I thought I wasn't taking action, but I am taking action. I'm actually in several classes, you know what I mean, like just taking Zooms and stuff like that are like healing stuff. I do a lot of healing Zooms to help me, you know, that's on the like spiritual network. They're free ones, whatever. I do them every day because they make me feel good, you know. And to me, that's taking action. But I would not have thought that was taking action until Shakti presented that to me, and she said that is action. Some things you don't realize you are taking action, and you're taking steps.
Mm-hmm.
And every tiny baby step leads bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to the future that you're wanting.
You know, there's something that I have learned and from other coaches for me, and that is the universe rewards action. And I used to be the type of person that would sit and watch everything, and I would learn, but I wouldn't take action. And I would learn, and I would learn, and I would learn. And then I finally jumped in to this one course years ago, and I was the only one taking action, and I was having so much fun, but the teacher wasn't providing anything to take action with. I took the action on my own, and then she messaged me one time that I was the only one that took action, and she thanked me for showing what it's like for everyone in the group to inspire others to be the invitation for taking action. And so one of the things with baby steps that is significant in my opinion is that I set it up for taking action play, and I set it up where you have a buddy so that you're accountable. And by doing that,
I love having a buddy. It's like a coach, a private coach.
And by doing it, you have set yourself up for a year to have a support that you may not have anywhere else in the world. You may not have a family member, you may not have a friend that you can be as open and vulnerable with, because you're in the class together and you have the same things that you have to address together. And so it becomes it feels good. And when you finish this a year from now, what's amazing is that you will walk away with a friend for life, a support for life, and anyone that's in the class will also be there for you. So you walk away with a very solid team, that whatever it is that you're going to do in your life, whether it's just whatever it is, not a just, whatever it is, you have extra backbone. Because one of my things, Sakshi, has been hiding. I spent a lot of my life hiding. And I also knew that I had the capacity and the capability for showing up if it was the right, I just knew there was something for me. And there was a burning desire in me to create. I said, well, I'm not 100% ready. And I said, well, what percentage are you ready? And he said around 60%, or it was either 40 or 60%. And I said, so the people that are 40 or 60% ready now will receive you. You don't have to be 100% ready to be 100% or to be successful. You just don't. You start where you are. It's like in yoga.
I love that.
If you haven't done yoga in a really long time and you have really tight muscles and you're just not in shape at all, when you start, the only invitation that you have is what you have right now. And so if you have really tight muscles, and if you're really like not in any shape that you used to be in, all you can do is show up with what you have. And you can cry, and you can, but you don't need to be in judgment, because you can't stretch farther. Your muscles are tight. So it's the same with baby steps. You are here because you have been possibly contracting for a really long time. So those muscles are equivalent to that of your body when you're doing yoga. And so if you were to judge it, then what is the point? All you can do is be the invitation. And as you're the invitation, you soften and you open. And so each class builds on each other. Every single class is designed for the ease of the next step. Some of the steps might be a little gristly, and you have support. And then you get through that the next one, and then it's funny, and then it's laughing, and then it's crying, and then it's laughing. It's like life. If you choose to be the invitation in your life at any given moment, you are then in a place of knowing that change can happen because you're acknowledging what is. When you acknowledge what is changes. When you acknowledge the tightness without wronging it, then you give yourself permission to change it. But as long as you're wronging any aspect of you, if you're wronging the victim of you, if you're wronging the pathetic of you, or if you're wronging the judgments of yourself, any aspect that you are wronging in yourself, you are going to keep creating. So if you're wronging the hiding, the only thing available is hiding. You don't have a choice to do anything else but hide, because that's the resistance. And so I bring a less scary place for you to actually step into a new possibility. And I do it in bite-sized pieces because, you know, we're on a diet. we're gonna eat in moderation. We're gonna make changes in moderation, and that's why it takes a year. If I were to do this in 30 days, none of you would be able to stick with it. None of you. It's not possible, because our belief systems are so wrapped up in other people's points of view, other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and all the judgments that you have and that we have that have been bastardized or projected onto us. So it's like when you become the space as the invitation for change, then the change will allow you to then step to the next plate, and then the next plate, and then the next plate. And because I have such freaking laser capacities for seeing things and feeling the undercurrent energies, it's like you could be saying one thing and I hear something else. You might not hear the other thing, but I hear it. And so then I address the other thing, and then we acknowledge it. And it's like, whoa. And then all of a sudden it's that easy. It's done. It's changed. But you often need that coach to provide that awareness for you, because when you're in the forest and when there's a fire in the forest, you don't see anything but the trees or the fire or the flames. You're running. It's like, how much running are you going to do until you stop and look and go, I'm done running from me. I am done running from my fears. I'm done running from the place of never good enough, not enough. I'm done running. I am enough. But what's it going to take? When you are in the lack, when you're in the deficit of being, how do you fill yourself up? It takes changes. Like there's a process in filling yourself up. Anyways.
Can I say something? This is Sally.
I would love you to say something, Sally.
Yeah, well, I've been, the thing that I loved about, one of the many things I liked about Shakti was that she is so deeply intuitive, and the class size being the size that it is allows everybody, every single person, every single time gets tuned in to, gets feedback, and Shakti's intuition is really, really right on. So, if you are trying to say something and it's not really what is, it's not quite the right words, or you can't quite get there, then she helps you to do that. And so it just facilitates faster and faster movement. And because it is baby steps, the other thing that's really wonderful is that your resistance shows up. Or my resistance would show up to doing something really small. And it would be like, well, shit, no wonder I don't have, $300,000. I have resistance to doing this little tiny step. And, where else am I having resistance to doing stuff? And so once I would commit to do it, finally do it, then everything else started to get easier and easier and easier. So, and so that 2-week period, you can think about it, you can do it in between other stuff, and you just start incorporating and changing really fast, at a manageable pace. So I'm just really grateful, because I feel like I was definitely hiding and being invisible, and I'm not hiding or being invisible. Since I took the class, I've totally revamped my logo. It's really bright orange. It's like changed a lot. And it's only been, 4 months, 3.5 months. So it's pretty exciting. So if you guys are interested, I would say go for it, because you really get a lot of personal attention, and it feels really wonderful.
So baby steps, this second wave, it begins next week. I'm actually going to move it to Wednesday instead of Tuesday. I was starting on the 23rd. I'm going to start on the 24th. And I also would like to move it so that they're back to back with my other baby steppers. So it will, the following class will be a week later instead of 2 weeks later. So you'll have 2 very quick ones in a row, which is really exciting because the first one is really yummy because we go into your ask, what is it you would like? And then I clean it up. I take the fat out of it, so to speak. And it's really powerful when you start understanding the extra. It's like when you start seeing what a clean ask is, you begin to see it everywhere in your life. And then you get to practice it. And then you get to see what arises, you know? And then, you know, you're never done. You're never, ever done. You get what you're asking for, and then you want something else. And then you want something else. And so to go into this energy of, well, what do I do when I get what I want? Well, you don't go there. It's like you're always sprouting seeds. You're always creating. You're always generating. You're always. So when you go out of generating and when you go out of conspiring for you, you start doing things against you. So Sakshi, hiding is a thing that has a potency that is being used against you. It is probably a really good superpower you have, and you haven't learned to navigate it. And so when you understand how it works for you, then you can understand how to navigate it. And then you get to choose when you want to hide and not hide, instead of making it a wrongness. And when you go into the rightness of it, it changes because you're no longer judging it. And when you're in the gratitude of it and the curiosity of it and the allowance of it, then you're not going to go around feeling like you don't fit in anywhere.
Thank you so much. I haven't ever asked this question, you know. I mean, I haven't ever gone into the rightness of it.
Well,
It's
who would
something
want to? We all have judgment on it. Every one of us judges it. It's part of humanness. It's part of what it means to change.
just like I was wondering the other day. So I finished my 6 years of dentistry.
Yay!
And
Congratulations!
thank you.
You're such an amazing, you're going to be making an amazing dentist.
Thank you. So I just realized that, you know, all these 6 years I have hidden so well, so well. And yet, I don't know, learned how much, but yet learned, you know. It's so I was like, you know, I always had that guilt key. I've never given my 100% to dentistry, or, you know, or to my college or to everybody around. So, you know, like, I don't know, I have been having this that, you know, I've got to give it my 100% and not hide. So there was a lot of that showing up for me. But right now, all of that has kind of lessened so much with that question. I was truly, you know, like, truly, truly grateful for that awareness today.
Thank you. So one of the questions people ask me is, how much is this? And it's interesting. If the program is speaking to you, it doesn't matter how much it is. If you're desperate enough for change, if you're ready, if you're sick and tired of being stuck, if you're a year from now, I'm going to be in the same place, then truly it doesn't matter what the cost is. And at the same time, there's a reality that you live in, and there's a reality of reciprocation and honoring my work. I have priced it in a way to make it affordable for everybody. The value of it is tenfold. I am by nature generous, by nature overgiving. It is a compensation system, overgiving. And it is also something that I'm okay with until I'm not okay with it. So you can pay it in full, and if you pay it in full, then you get bonuses from that. I like to reward action. And so when you pay it in full, you get a free hour session with me. That would be for the whole year. that you can use at any given time. So that's a $300 value. And when you pay it in full, you get the 4 potency polls that come with each module. You get there's 26 classes for the whole year, and you get extras that come with, there's intro classes that you will get for free and things. So there's a lot of perks for that. It's one, and I priced everything, like I asked. And so to pay in full, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1,234. That's congruent. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, the money shows up. It's congruent. So if you pay it in 6 months, it's $695 for there, and I have the 3 or 5% credit card fee for international or US, unless you pay Messenger or another way. So you have 6 months, it's $695, and if you pay it in quarterly, then it's $393. So every 3 months you would be paying $393. So you have ease in this. You have ease in how you would like to pay. You have ease in how you would like it to show up. And I'm not attached to how you pay it in any of those areas of all at once or in half or in quarterly. So from that place, that's kind of the nuts and bolts for it. You have, we're going to start next Wednesday, so you would have till Tuesday to pay.
Is that dollar or sterling? 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's US dollar.
US dollar. Okay. Is there any possibility, instead of taking for a year, can we be able to do less than a year?
No, it is designed. It is designed, each module, you can't jump into any module. You have to start at the first one, and it builds. It is an incredible building block. Every class builds upon each other, and every module builds upon each other. As you change the infrastructure of you, your entire life around you starts to reconfigure it. And it is amazing to watch as you get congruent. And when you're not congruent, it's fun to watch where the universe shows you where you're not congruent. And so that becomes a thing. So,
thank you.
and it's not that I don't want to offer it in half, it's that the benefit, in order to really receive the benefit of it, staying the course of it is what makes it an enrichment program. It truly enriches your life.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tim has a question.
Well, actually, a comment. Having completed the first module of Baby Steps, if I was to drop right now, feeling as good as I do and knowing the changes that I made, oh, I didn't mean to shut off my video, so sorry. I can just sense that I would go out and I'd be doing great for a period of time, but I also believe I would fall back into something that I used to do before. And I can see that, yeah, I'm like, after yesterday's class about the next module, I'm excited about what's coming up. And it's like, yeah, that's what I'm ready for, is more excitement. It'd be like I was climbing the side of a mountain and get up, you know, the first 2,000 feet and say, okay, I'm at the top. But I'm not. I'd be fooling myself. So, and with the other, the 2 modules after this one, business and money, those 2 absolutely speak to me. And if I can feel this good, having gone through the first one and carry this forward and know that it's all building, I truly see the value in doing this as an entire 1-year course. And I'm grateful for that. Even though I may not have wanted to start in the beginning for my own reasons, I did it anyway, and now I'm very happy about it.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that I've been asked what is the money one at the end. So money is a byproduct of creation. if I started the very first one with money, you would all kill me because nothing would change. Nothing. You have to clean out the infrastructure and reconstruct it. You have to. It just, the belief systems need to recalibrate. And then you have to understand your relationship with creation. If you don't understand your relationship with creation, then money is not going to do you any favor. And if you have codependency issues with money, and if you have debt with money, if you have judgments, and if you have a lot of pain with money, if I were to do it before anything else, nothing would change. You would not receive the gift of the value of it until, so by putting it last, it allows me to do the changes that are required. So it's going to be like how much magic can you stand, how much fun can you have, and how much risk are you willing to have now that you've done the work earlier. And it's a wonderful choice knowing that it doesn't have to happen tomorrow. And at the same time, where's my rent coming from? Where's my groceries coming from? And it's like, no, we're going to stay in the expansion of the bigger question. When you go to the big, the universe delivers big. When you stay small, you're contracted. So if you're talking about grocery money, and if you're talking about rent, you've lost the picture of what's the word? Legacy. You've lost where you could have a legacy. You've lost where standing on your own leg. A legacy is standing in your own pillar. It's standing in your lineage. It's empowering you in a way that you've never been able to do before. And you cannot get there if you do the money first.
I'd like to say one other thing. I was one of those people, if I might, who Shakti said I had to do self-love first. My money was my issue. And I was like, well, I don't want to do self-love. I mean, I need money. And why can't I just go ahead and do the money? Because that would be far more interesting and be far more helpful to me if I could do money instead of self-love. And so anyway, I resisted and protested privately for a while, and then I started doing it, and it changed everything. And it changed, my life, and it changed my marriage, because I realized that I was mimicking my mother and her view of marriage and how it should be. And oh my gosh, my life is, my life is just not the same. And I'm so grateful I did the and I'm doing the self-love, because that was, it was like, oh my God, what a way I would have cheated myself had I not done it. So, and everything does build upon the other, and it's just really, I think I've taken some pretty expensive programs and some other programs, and this just is the best I've ever had, as far as really moving you not from theory but into practicality, into every step you're taking is moving you dramatically ahead. And I think that's what we've all said, but it's really sizable. So anyway, that's all I would like to say. So,
go Sally. Tim just wrote
yeah.
I'm so blessed to have people actually receiving this and to have the results that they're having. And it's like, you're always going to want, unless you, like, I love Wayne Dyer. He says you are born with nothing and you leave with nothing. Therefore, you have everything. And when you realize that you have everything, then you're not coming from lack anymore. And when you choose to come from abundance, and when you choose to come from gratitude, then creating from that place is where the fulfillment comes from. You have to feel fulfilled, or you're going to always feel empty. And if you feel empty, you're going to be congruent with empty. And what shows up is nothing. What shows up is lack. What shows up is the asking, why isn't it coming to me? I'm doing the work. And so when you come from the place of lack or deficit of being, you can only be aligned and congruent with that which you are. And so if you believe yourself to be empty or lacking, then the universe is truly giving you what you're asking for. And until you are aware of tendencies, then you're going to feel awkward, or you're going to feel like you don't fit in. You see it, you know it, but why isn't it showing up? You know, I'm taking the steps. I have so many stories where I've taken the steps and it hasn't happened. I can write a book about all the things that I took action on and it didn't happen. And I bet you every single one of you has a story where you gave everything you had and it didn't happen.
Several stories like that, which is why,
Yeah, for sure.
it's why I appreciate baby steps, is because the word that keeps coming to me is dynamic. What is created is dynamic. Through the upheaval or the chaos that has erupted in my life, I still feel dynamic because of what I have learned or retrained myself to do through this.
And it's not hard. It's just awareness. It's awareness. We're creating awareness here. So when you are in the curiosity, then the changes will be easier. When you are in the stubbornness, when you're in the resistance, or when you're in the resentment of, I know how this works, why isn't it working? When you're in the conclusion kills everything. You have two killers. One is expectation and one is conclusion. The moment you expect something to be a certain way and the moment you conclude something, you've cut off everything. So when you interject, say you are your own intervention, if you were to intervene in your life and be curious and have gratitude and have allowance, and it is a practice, and sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's tiring, and at the same time life keeps moving on, and life keeps moving on, and a year from now life keeps moving on, and 10 years from now life keeps moving on. And I have had coaches and I've had facilitators and teachers, and they all say, what's the one thing that you've had sticking with you your whole life? You know, every single person can say what they've had that's not gotten better. You've had this sticking you your whole life, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. So whatever it is, I guarantee you that coming to baby steps, it's going to shift it. Because I have a key that nobody talks about. And when I unlock that key, you are going to see it dynamically, and it will shift. And then you will have awareness, and you will have a new pivot point to come from, and your life will really morph into that which you're asking for. So anyways, if you want to private message me for more details, you can leave. I'm going to post the replay of this for people that if you can share it for other people, that would be great. And I'm so grateful for all of you attending, and I really appreciate those that have shared, and I appreciate those that have signed up. And I feel like I'm in the place where my legacy is creating, and it comes from a divine source. It comes from a deep place within me of wanting to make a difference in the world. So I hope you can feel that, and thank you so much. You can all unmute.
Thank you. I appreciate a lot of things that were said today about the just about the consciousness. I can relate to a lot of people that are talking about how many programs we've taken and nothing has really changed. That's definitely a point of resistance for me. It's like, I don't believe that it'll work.
I understand.
So,
I've been there. I've tried.
so it's, yeah.
I've asked for refunds in classes that didn't work. They don't. They're like, too bad. It's interesting.
Yeah, or signing up for a class is something that's sticking me today. Maybe somebody else is feeling this too. Is like signing up for a 6-month-long, year-long experience, and then the coach not delivering what they promised.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not practicing deal and deliver.
That's
so
exactly what I've experienced.
For me, yeah. So for me, it's like, okay, maybe the deal is with me. Like I make a deal and deliver it to myself. That I became aware of it as you guys were sharing. So thank you.
You're welcome. It's important for me to deliver what I say. There are coaches that when I meet them are not the same as when I took classes with them. I am authentic. What you see is what you get. And if you met me in person, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, me too. For better or worse.
It is for better or for worse. It is that. And I can really appreciate this because I was in the same boat, and I had somebody share with me. It was a coach I worked with for actually 2 years, and she said something very profound. She said, how much of what you were creating was futurized? And I said, well, everything. And she's like, well, how can people receive what you have if it's, she goes, well, how far in the future are you futurizing? And I was like, oh my God, I saw 2.2 billion years. And I'm like, well, how the hell could I share anything and receive that? Like how, like it, and so it's like she taught me how to turn it and send it back. And I have learned how to ask questions for now and not future. And so I've learned to create what's going to be received now and not future. And when I say future, I mean future could be 10 days from now or 2 minutes from now. But most of the things
now.
Most of my life I have spent futurized creating. I've been ahead of my times for everything. It's tiring. And so baby steps is what's required to stop creating for the future like that. It requires you to be present with literally that which is right now, keeping you from offering the world your gift. You know, it's funny because I went to my acupuncture one time and she verbalized something in my body from a 5-element perspective that I was like, oh my God, that's what I do. And she talked about my kidneys. And it was really interesting. She's like, you launch people. You have the gift. And I'm like, I'm hiding that in my kidneys. And she's like, and so as I became less afraid to be seen, as I have showed up and as I have been able to do, like I've done so much of my work now, I have a thing that creates people to launch, and I launch you and I send you off in your gift, and then you get to bring the world what you're here for. I rejoice in people's success like crazy. That is something that a lot of people don't do, and I really, really value everybody and what they're here for. Each person has a piece to give permission for someone else to be and do in this world. And as you give yourself permission for you to be it, you open the door for someone else permission to be it as well. Marion said, I've met her in person. And I can totally vouch for that. for me. Sakshi said, I love what you're saying right now. So tempted to be here for the whole call. She's in India and it's 3 a.m. for her. So she said good night. I hope all of you have gained clarity and would love to participate. I will be hearing from some of you I know soon. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.